find themselves in a rough spot in mid-game.
Yeah, and we do now load onto the Rift here. It is going to be PSG up 2 games as Frank look to try and pull one back in their favour and keep their hopes of punching a ticket to London alive. We have PSG versus Frank, and I'm just so excited to see how this game goes. We've got a Nocturne, I think, for the first time in the PCS this year, and it's in the deciding game.
Yeah, it really takes balls to pick this for Frank, but when your backs are against the wall, you really just have to go all out and figure out something that PSG hopefully won't be expecting. But yeah, definitely a big barrier to overcome, especially like you mentioned earlier, Shark, with the Zeri Lulu. They've opted for heal and barrier, so it's going to be really hard for Hollow to be able to pick them off in this game.
Does feel quite hard, yeah. I mean, I think Zeri Lulu might be one of the more unkillable duos. Yeah. Maybe only Zyra Khan is kind of at that level, and there's honestly not too much follow-up damage. It feels like Nocturne might even be follow-up more to like a culling that kind of comes out in chunks early on. Because if you go in by yourself with Nocturne, really the only follow-up is the Ahri, which doesn't even bring that much damage from itself. More of a facilitatory champion for sure. And once again, solo AP onto Pretender, I think has been looking probably the most solid member of his team throughout the series, but just kind of hasn't been dealt the best hand. And maybe this can be the one.
Yeah, I think although he is solo AP, again, the Lucian Nami actually does a surprising amount of magic damage just through the nature of the Lucian passive as well as Nami's empowerment. And you do have a bit of true damage also on solo kills Cassante, but he's already going down early to Azi's Malphite here. And this isn't a good look here, considering solo kill really has been your star player for the entire split.
Yeah, Haji continuing rather to assert his dominance in the top lane on the Malphite, especially of all things. He's opted for the grass instead of the Comet, like we've seen from previous Malphites in the last couple of matches, and it definitely makes sense in this melee versus melee matchup.
As we'll get a look at the 3 lanes here, and currently it is PSG getting priority in all lanes. You're kind of expecting mid-pro to go the way of the Annie, at least in those first couple levels before Ahri's wave clear comes online. And you're not really expecting too much just to happen on the map until you kind of have your Nocturne at level 6. So Frank, I think at level 6, just across the board is when they come online, after Lucian Nami have their first base, after we've got that Nocturne ult and more wave clear from Ahri. Until then, probably just want to stabilize.
Ooh, trade's coming down bottom here as both AD carries getting quite low. I think that does favor the side of Frank because they do have sustain coming out of Nami. So I think decent trading here from the side of Frank, as I just said. But again, up in the top lane, it looks like Azi's really got the better of this matchup.
Yeah, it's just kind of slapping away at him in that top side. He's Ghost on solo kills, so later on perhaps can chase him down. Bot lane though, they have the wave in a nice position. Ward does get placed here. But Hollow is around if they wanted to try and force something.
Definitely the level 3 Nocturne, though. You don't expect to have all that much impact yet. And what do you think he's going to build? Obviously, he has got the lethal tempo, so could really go damage. And I don't know that you'd want lethal tempo if you were to go more of a tanky style build. I think that's something to really look out for, because we certainly haven't seen Nocturne really any region so far, internationally even.
I have no idea what Nocturne builds these days, honestly.
Yeah,
so
it's been a while.
We'll just have to find out, I suppose.
See what Hollow has in store for us, but taking stock of this bot lane, we talked about how Nami has the sustain edge in this lane, but PSG have done a good job of poking them out, and both Eminem and Kaibing are really low on mana here.
Junjia's looking. Heal used early. It will land root here onto Kaiwing and take quite a lot of damage back, actually, as Eminem looks for a trade onto Wako. So, I mean, well played by Frank to deter that. As Hollow's looking for first blood here. It is Flash matched by Junjia, but Q will land. Is there enough follow-up? Such low health bars as Hollow's trying to find something, but it will be flashes from Woody as well. And really well played there for the side of Frank.
I think as well, nice punish, especially from the side of Frank, just when Junjia invested that W, right? I think Junjia had already kind of done his job of just forcing the Lucian heal. Could have just walked away. Instead, tries to turn on the Kaiwing, which it feels like never is really going to do anything. And they get very heavily punished for it. We're forced to use 2 flashes. Top lane trade, though, is pretty close. I think Aja can manage to crash this wave, but I think, despite PSG still being the one slightly in the lead, this is the first time that Frank have really potentially found themselves ahead in tempo in the game.
Yeah, it actually looked really rough for them. Both Eminem and Kaibing are very low on their mana bars, and Junjia finds the angle for the stun, but I think PSG just a little bit too low, and Woody taking tower aggro as well. Definitely didn't help with that. Junjia finds the stun, but takes 2 ramped up tower shots. It's dropped very low. force into the tri-bush, into the waiting arms of Hollow, and Hollow did a really good job of being in the right place at the right time and really helping relieve pressure for Frank Esports.
Looks like this first dragon will go the way of PSG. Again, very, very early. I think both games so far, they've ended up picking up the soul around 24 minutes. They really try and put Frank kind of on the clock. This time, though, it's sort of a different composition. You're sort of expecting Frank to be the ones trying to get those dragons stacked up. So the fact that PSG managed to get one away nice and early does bode well for them in this game. As it looks like Pretender will be able to enter the river for what feels like the first time in a long time. Catalyst as well from Yuba. I think smart pickup. Definitely needs survivability up against this Arya and the Nocturne.
We do see Dirk now completed onto Eminem, so this is usually the point where the Lucian and Nami start to find a lot more pressure in this lane. As we see it's relatively even, assuming Eminem picks up the majority of this. And as this lane bounces back, you expect to see a lot more aggressive use of the Relentless Pursuit. He finds the bubble, actually. Eminem trying to find enough damage. Wako does have the flash available, and he'll now committed out of Woody. Honestly, good trade there from PSG to find that, but it is the Summoners committed.
Yeah, really great from Woody there to keep pressing forward when he notices Wako's in trouble and really just dishing out so much damage on the Lulu, just with its autos and his Qs. Really helping to dissuade any further movement there from the Frank bot lane.
Okay, so Nocturne has Dagger as well as Longsword, which could be Noon Quiver. I guess theoretically it could be something like the Wit's End too, but I think it might be a Noon Quiver.
Yeah, we'll still have to see. I'm not willing to bet on it, unfortunately. I have no clue. As Hollow, he's getting very, very close to 6. Does he get off the... Yeah, he actually gets it off the ward. So now his pressure has come online. Remember, there's no flash on Woody.
He does use it here. Paranoia is used, but they aren't able to find it. They do get the flash, importantly, and a lot of pressure given now to the side of Frank. I think that was a really good usage out of the first Nocturne ult.
It's good, but it's maybe not as good as you'd like. Just because normally if you miss the first kill with the Nocturne ult, it does slow you down pretty significantly in the game. You would have to say that double sums, although Hollow
is in trouble here. Polymorph used. It looks like Junjia will be able to pick this up with that heart whatever it's called. And they are looking for more here. It is obviously Junjia picking up this Nocturne Soul. Is he going to be able to find Kaiwing here? Does start the fear. Is going to use the ult and pick up a second kill here by the looks of it. Does get a reset as well, but looks like Eminem will be safe. But first 2 kills for PSG.
Okay, if Junjia's Viego can't carry with 2 kills, then the champ should just be removed. Is very, very fed here and certainly has the tools to snowball. And now Hollow is very, very behind. The fact that he didn't pick up that first kill and is now down 2 in the jungle feels very, very rough for them. And we'll kind of see Hollow, he felt like he, I guess, had the bot priority, but his bot lane's not really ready to move. They have to crash the wave and don't have a lot of resources of their own. Just walked into the waiting arms of Junjia with Woody there as well. No flash on him either.
Yeah, Junjia doesn't even have to do anything crazy. Just auto summon. He finds a Heartbreaker after the shield has been broken, and after that chases down the Frank bot lane duo. Oh man, it's so rough, but finally, Viego finding some value. He's really just walking straight at them. Frank, they have no recourse here. They do find the bubble to slow him down from getting 2 kills, but picking up 2 kills on the junglers. What is this?
Oh, okay. We did not know this happened at all, but Pretender was forced off a massive wave in mid lane. Yet is now down 20 CS as a result. So it's real nice from Arja to, I guess, use some top priority to walk down there. It's pretty big. I guess Pretender flashed it as well. I'm not sure if he didn't have ult available or just couldn't react in time, obviously. It was from Fog of War, but that's very punishing, right? You already lost a very massive wave in mid, and it reduces your aggressive options a lot if you don't have that flash charm.
Yeah, and overall, it feels like PSG are getting the better of Frank yet again in this early game. Already 1k gold up ahead. And the mid lane matchup is going pretty well for you, Bell. Oh man, it feels rough as well because Illusion and Nami, they've lost a lot of pressure from the bot lane presence from Junjia. And they really haven't been able to play as aggressive as they would have liked.
Certainly have not, as bot lane is going to take a little bit more plate damage. Second Nocturne ult is now available and probably wants to use a bot, but I feel like you kind of have to get confirmation on where Junjia is before you make a play anywhere now, because if he is there for the counter gank, it's going to be so tough to win any sort of 2v2 or 3v3. And maybe now PSG, they could look at mid. Junjia is just going to grab this ward. And if he chooses to hit that towards the red buff, will spot out Hollow. Ooh. Okay, I don't believe he spotted him.
Yeah, Hollow going to be safe for now. It does look like he's putting towards the Stride Breaker as his mythic. which doesn't provide too much damage, but definitely a little bit more on the utility side. But I don't know, it feels like the rest of the team is really lacking the DPS that you need to take down Wako and Woody. You know, all you really have is the Lucian.
All culling here is used. It's going to be a 3v3 by the looks of things. Bubble dodged out, but that is the dash down on Wako as Junji are now looking. It is going to be Paranoia found. Tidal Wave will miss, but nice dodge because of the Heartbreaker, and nothing found there again from the Paranoia.
It just ults traded, and I think that's better and better for PSG. You have to think that they do outscale, as well as just the fact that Nocturne is sort of just falling out of this game completely. Your only threat really is to get strong enough that you can threaten the PSG carries, and so far behind already, it doesn't feel like he's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, the best holos they've been able to find on the Nocturne is the Wako Flash, but other than that, you know, he hasn't found anything concrete, anything to help get Frank back in this game and close the lead. The PSG are slowly starting to accrue. Now, once again, looks like it's going to be the second Dragon picked up for PSG for the third game in a row.
Yeah, it's worrying signs, I think, for Frank, who they sort of have the tools they need again to get ahead, and unfortunately just can't. PSG, only a small gold lead for now, but you have to feel they're very, very in control of the game.
Definitely are, and it is looking like it will be the Stride Breaker, I think, on the Nocturne. So, going to have a bit more ability to stick, but you wouldn't think that would be the case against Wako in particular, but then maybe against the likes of Yubao and Junjia, he will be able to stick them a little better with the Stride Breaker, but we'll have to see how that pans out. And at the moment, at least, the Nocturne hasn't gained a lot, especially for the team of Frank, as Junjia now starts up this Herald, and this entire series, I don't believe Frank have picked up a single neutral objective.
Yeah, it's looking really rough for them. I guess the only sort of shining light for Frank is that solo kill finally in this third game isn't behind in his lane and actually hasn't, you know, managed to die yet either. Has picked up the Sunfire Cape, so you know, could be that beacon of hope for Frank. We've seen him carry games before off the back of his individual lead. Can they do it again though? They really need something to play around.
Yeah, interesting though. Frank have picked up 5 plates to only the 1 of PSG, and so while it does look pretty grim at the moment, as particularly with Junjia having the 2 kills already, they have managed to find themselves a little bit more of gold, and definitely more than they have in the past games. As Hollow now looking here for Woody, will back away.
Okay, now Hollow is got his ult up again, but where can you really look? There are flashes up for all 5 members from PSG. Feels like it almost has to start from someone else's CC. You know, maybe it can be Pretender in the mid lane, has the Charm and Ignite with that spellbook, but there's a lot of PSG members around, although he's going to have to run away from this one. And once again, you know, those early drags picked up will force Frank to contest very early. Have themselves a bit more strength this time. Maybe you can fight on the one item that comes through on your Ahri and Lucian here. But it always feels bad when you're forced to contest something as opposed to just contesting it because you feel like you're stronger or you feel like you have a good position. Herald is now dropped on bot side. They want to get more gold onto Wako.
I wonder if this actually crashes. Frank might have a shot at taking this down before it's able to hit the turret, but definitely going to be close. PSG doing a good job of zoning them off.
Well, they missed the eye there, so it should crash, but ultimately it will be 2 plates picked up there for the side of PSG. It was shared between 3 members, so not as much gold onto Wako as they perhaps would have hoped, but this Viego is so far ahead, and as you said kind of earlier, if you can't cross the line with a Viego this strong, then it really does seem like there's no place for him in these games.
Yeah, Junja has yet to find anything else other than that earlier bot lane skirmish, but to be honest, he doesn't really need to. It feels like at this point, PSG, they just need to try and maintain their lead and not give Frank a way back into it. Archer. Man, these top lane trades are so riveting.
Yeah, it's 1 CS lead for solo kill after all this. They've been fighting tooth and nail up there. Stride Breaker now completed, so we do get our confirmation. Unfortunately, it does feel very late into this game. 1 minute 40 on the Cloud Dragon. Eminem, he should, I think, be able to get the Gale Force in time, but maybe he can't because he invested into the Dirk and hasn't really been able to find any snowball, whether that be plates or 2v2 kills, even CS. And you have to feel like the mandate is very far away as well. I'm liking PSG's chances at just taking away the 3rd drag again.
Yeah, to be fair, we have seen Lucians, turn games around even when they don't find much in lane, just off of the back of a couple of kills. It still does snowball out of control, but definitely in this current game set, it feels like Frank, they just don't have enough damage to deal with the tanky members of PSG.
Yeah, definitely not. And as you said, there's now 1 minute till this dragon. It looks like Junjie is going to start trying to set up some vision around it. And honestly, it is the Cloud Dragon, so it's not the most important of the souls, but you don't want to just concede 4 dragons straight in 3 different games. It feels really terrible for the side of Frank, and especially when you have this Lucian. He does actually complete the Gale Force as well as the Mandate, so you feel like if you can't win a fight here, you're probably just not winning a fight ever.
Yeah, this does kind of feel like your Hail Mary into this game, perhaps. Junjie does get spotted out by the vision there. It smites away the red. And if you have a look at the control that PSG already have, they've got so many pinks, 3 pinks in this bot river already, as well as the war. It just feels so difficult for this side of Frank to contest. Once again, though, I think they're going to try.
I want to bring up, because of that red steal, Nocturne will not have the availability of that upgraded smite, so it is upgraded smite versus non. So if this does come down to a steal, it really does favor Junjie in that regard as well, as Hollow's being looked at here. He uses a spell shield, and that will be down now.
Yeah, it's actually a big cooldown. PSG can actually just look to start with the dragon now, knowing that Nocturne can't look at least for the next 10 seconds or so. There is a ward in the pit, so Frank Esports, they do have an idea of what's going on.
Well, it's going to be a whole 5v5 here, and Solo Kill and Arzi up the top side. It is going to break out here. Paranoia used. Nice tidal wave finds 3. We found Wako in the middle of the team fight. He just goes down to Solo Kill. That's 1 picked up, and the all-out Solo Kill is trying to find more. They will turn their attentions now back towards this dragon. I think Hollow picked up that Scuttle Crab and will have the smite now, importantly. Well, he actually didn't. So this is a 4v5, but it is upgraded smite versus not upgraded smite. We'll see if that does play any impact in it, as Junjie are coming around the side.
Yeah, he has Flash and Heartbreak available, so he can definitely look for the steal here.
Pretender's stunned up here, and it is Arzi tanking up so much damage as Junjie looks, but it's Arzi getting so low, as well as Solo Kill here. It is the dragon getting it also low. Again, upgraded smite versus not. It is going to be picked up there by Junjie as the fight comes out again. It's going to be 1 reset for him. Can he find another? He will. He's looking for more. Can he find Pretender? That's a 3rd reset found here on the Viego, as Hollow is also being chased down. He does gonna be fine. That's 4 kills found for PSG. Only Kaiwing living on the Nami, and so much more can be possibly found here for PSG.
You just can't beat PSG, right? Even with Waku going down, they're just too fucking clean. There's just really nothing that can be done, right? It felt like Frank, they had all the chain CC onto Waku. I mean, we'll see it here. You know, they've got all members around, right? They've brought everyone here. Waku, I believe it was a bubble actually hit on him. Yeah, the tidal wave into the bubble, all the knock-up, everything you need to win this fight, but still, they don't have enough damage to take out the rest of them, and PSG, they just play it slow, and ultimately it was the smite difference.
Yeah, this looked actually so rough for PSG, especially because they used so many key ultimates, and of course the AD carry is down for the count, but like you said, they play it slow and steady, and Frank, they're just too scared, you know, knowing that they don't have the upgraded smite available, and with the steal threat from Junjie, don't take it down quite quick enough, and wow, Pretender getting caught there really just spells disaster for the rest of PSG. It gives them a window back into this fight, and as soon as Junjie finds that first reset, it's really just game over.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see the health bars are so low, and he flashes in, takes out the Lucian, gets the reset, and after that, right, what can you do as a side of Frank? You really, all you have is burst. You don't have a lot of sustained DPS. That was a really long fight as well.
It was.
So it did feel like it just favored PSG. We get another fight.
Frank looking for the Rift Herald here as Wako positioning very aggressively. It is going to be Yubao teleporting in near side. Paranoia is actually really good here to stop. Junjie steals the 2nd objective as a row. Now it's Solo Kill being looked at. Ult by Zeri is going to be able to find a lot of damage if he finds the right position, but here we see 3 people. It's going to be only the 1 found by Unstoppable Force, but they are going to take down Kaiwing as the chase is on. There's another reset for Viego, and Viego is the best jungler in the PCS.
I think this is the first time I've seen Viego do anything, but it's doing wonderful things here. I'm not sure where this Viego was the whole time. I guess PSG were just holding on to it in the upper bracket, and now looks like this top tower will fall. PSG, it feels like all 3 games have just found themselves, you know, at 20 minutes, 3 dragons to 0, massive gold lead, and Frank find themselves with, again, no options.
Yeah, PSG 5k gold ahead. Everyone on the team is ahead. Oh man, and this team fight, it all started off with the TP coming in, the Rift Hero drops solo Frank, they can't access the eye, so they're too scared to finish it off. You'll see Chunja just walks up, slaps the eye, smites it, and it's just, you know, another steal going his way. After this, I don't know, there's just so much mania going on, but look at Wako, he's able to sidestep most of the CC, and from there he's able to just run down and clean up with the help of RG, you know, finding an unstoppable force, only finds one, but it's just enough to, you know, prevent Frank from being able to turn around at all in this fight.
It does, yeah, and I think that's always the thing when you have, you know, the Zeri Lulu is they will win those extended fights. So unless you can take down Wako, and I mean, we saw in the previous fight, even if you do take down Wako, the job is not yet done. And it now feels like Frank, they somehow have to kill Wako, but it's through, you know, the barrier, the heal, the shield bow, and the Lulu. I mean, you see there, right? 3,300 damage. He's outputting a lot of Damaskis.
Yeah, certainly is a big job for the side of Frank Esports. Will they be able to turn this one around? I don't even know where you look now. The Nocturne feels almost irrelevant now. You've got the Stride Breakers, sure, but even with, you know, the confusion you can cause from your ultimate, I feel like PSG, once again, they're just going to come out on top in these team fights no matter what.
Yeah, I think it's crazy in that Junjie was able to steal that Rift Hero away because the Nocturne ult was, you know, currently up, and so you don't really see much. He was able to still get it regardless, and yeah, that's 2 objectives in a row he stole. You know, they're now 1 minute away from the perhaps Soul, as well as Baron now on the Rift, and Rift Hero does go down as well. Mid tower likely to go down, and you don't really see a way for Frank to even contest as this dragon spawns. Paranoia now used. It is going to be Ozzy not able to be in this fight, but the Paranoia is just used for a bit of map control.
Yeah, Tidal Wave as well, expended from Kaiwing. That's a lot of tools now unavailable for Frank. PSG, they're really holding down this mid-pro, and I'm surprised they're not turning their sights more towards the Baron, but with the Cloud Drake coming up in 25 seconds, it is their sole point. Now, ripe for the taking, and Frank, you know, they have to contest this, they have to deny the soul away, but where's the strength coming from?
Yeah, it just feels like they don't really have any of it there, right? I feel like the Lucian culling just being used into a Lulu E is kind of sums up the game, right? You use your most aggressive tools, and PSG, they can just completely nullify them with how far ahead they are. And Frank, they're going to go for what is potentially the last like winnable fight of the series.
There's going to be solo kill really quickly blown up. The reset comes through now for Jinjia. He's looking for more here on the Cassante. Comes back to Viego, finds a stun. Are they going to be able to get Hollow? Hollow's so low. It is double kill now for Viego, as well as Wako picking one up on the side. It's only the carries left alive here for Frank, but ultimately, Wako is just diving between Nexus towers. He's going hard. He does get that shield bow to keep him alive, although barrier actually used there to not die to the tower. Pretender's going to find him, so a bit of a slip up here for Wako, a little bit of gold onto Ari, but ultimately it is now just a 1 for 3.
It was a little bit of the Wako incident there, unfortunately, when he was sliding on out, did get, you know, shot at by the tower, and ultimately did end up going down, but can Frank get anything off that? It doesn't really feel like it. The Dragon, it still goes the way of PSG. There are pings onto the Baron, so maybe
double teleport.
They're going to try.
How are they going to do it? Eminem is already basing. It's, you know, you'd hope that they'd be able to find something off the back of that, but once again, even with Wako dead, Frank Esports, like, they can't find anything on the map to take back.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a very different damage graph in this one. I feel like Viego's done a lot more than we traditionally see. He's now 5-0 and 5.
Oh my.
That's more damage in one team fight than we've seen Viego's in entire games before. So definitely a better look here as we see Solo Kill trying to do things here in the mid lane. But ultimately, Ozzy is never going to be taking damage for the rest of this game, you have to feel.
No, it certainly isn't. And, you know, across from him, the other tank, it feels like Solo Kill just falls apart instantly. There's just so much damage coming in from PSG. Really did not last long, was the first one to go down in that fight. And I don't know how you're meant to win any sort of fight here.
Eminem. Okay. Pacifist malfight a bit there in the bush, but maybe he thought he didn't have the damage to just one-shot him and then could perhaps sort of die afterwards, but he is still sitting here. He's looking for something bigger. He's going to be able to find 3. It's 4! And he is able to find it. Eminem goes down immediately as Hollow now stuck between the absolute massacre that is PSG. Kaiwing trying to find more, but it is going to be Solo Kill trying to return some damage, but not really any to be seen. 2 picked up, including the jungler. This is going to be Baron now for PSG, as it doesn't look like they are going to be stopped.
I think, Frank, they have to try and contest here. Sure, it looks really, really unwinnable, to be honest, but if PSG are able to get this Baron, there's not going to be any chance for you for the rest of the game. Are they going to do anything?
I don't even think they can get in, though. It feels like the 2 enforcers here, Yubao and Aja, just won't let him into the club. can't get towards that Baron and just going to be forced to clear out midways, which feels like, the most you can do at this point, but honestly just isn't enough.
Yeah, they're also just, honestly, the Malphite and Annie are able to just zone off 3 members of Frank, and your usage of this Lucian is well expired now. You're almost an entire item down, you have to feel, and where can you ever source damage in this game? Ari not a good source of damage, neither is Nocturne or Lucian as this game progresses, and I feel like Ozzy at this stage could probably, along with Wako, just 2v5 the entire side of Frank.
Yeah, definitely. And now with PSG, with the Baron buff in their back pockets, and not much consistent wave clear coming out from the side of Frank Esports, it's going to be really hard for them to try and defend against this. PSG, they have so much dive threat and backline access that they have to be super careful. They're looking for anything now, really.
Yeah, we see Ozzy just walking forward and trading blows here with solo kill, definitely getting the better of that trade, as Ozzy now will find 4 members, and you have to feel like they're going to be okay to fight this if that's what Frank want to try and do. We'll just back away though and use this Baron empowered minion wave to try and take down this mid inner tower.
It looks like they might just play the 5-man mid and just hard force and engage. Ooh,
Yeah,
I'm surprised there was no Malphite coming out there. I guess there wasn't enough follow-up nearby. Looks like they will actually go back to playing 2 lanes, or perhaps just 1. Feels like you probably should just put RJ mid and have him shove in the waves. Okay, instead goes bot, and they're going to keep 4 people mid, at least for now. Should be able to break open the base, you feel like. Frank don't really feel like they have the strength nor the wave clear to kind of defend this.
Yeah, PSG, level advantage, gold advantage as well. It's so difficult for Frank to really have any output available to kill the members of PSG, especially Arjit. This guy is unkillable on the Malphite.
Yeah, bot tier 2 now goes down. They've only got a minute left on the Baron, but that should still be enough to break at least 1 inhib, you'd think. Looks like they are just going to 5-man bot, and Frank have to be careful. If they give the engage over, they might give the game along with it.
Yeah, it definitely feels like especially Ozzy can tank up this tower for infinite amount of time as solo kill goes in. Paranoia also used, and look how much is used onto Ozzy as he's just going to ult out and be completely fine. There was so much used. It's flash engage found here from Ubel. It's going to be Wako going absolutely crazy in the base. He's punching their ticket here to London. It's going to be a clean ace, and PSG are going to MSI.
Oh, PSG, they just completely wiped the floor there with Frank Esports. 27 minutes into the game, 18 kills to 3, and just a completely dominant series and showing from PSG all round.
Yeah, I think PSG, they're definitely worthy of being our MSI representative. No team could touch them here at the end. I almost feel like I just watched the same game 3 times in a row as PSG, they just kind of stomp Frank in the same fashion. Really do just look on another level. We were maybe thinking, potentially Frank could contest them here in the series after yesterday, but PSG, they proved time and time again, they are the best.
Yeah, maybe some early slip-ups and weakness shown from PSG, but ultimately they get here to the finals and where it all counts, and they just cleanly wipe 3-0 against the side of Frank. And I think there's probably coaching staff making a joke to Wako about his little incident there in mid lane, but I mean, you're allowed to laugh at it after you win the series, and well done to them. And I think this team could really do some damage internationally. They look so strong, and I'm so excited to see them there.
Yeah, me too. I think that PSG, especially the way they were, very proactive while still remaining very clean, great team fighting. It feels like they're probably our most well-rounded team for sure here in the PCS, and I think the way they play certainly lends them to having some sort of international success.
Yeah, they clawed back their advantages inch by inch and really just, showed such a consistent performance in all 3 games. Just a clean 3-0 in Frank Esports. It's just really rough for them, especially, after clawing through the lower bracket so far, just to get 3-0 in the finals, it's not a great showing from them.
Yeah, I do want to say about that as well. Frank actually the last 3 days had to play 3 best of 5s against completely different teams. I mean, you go from Impunity, who are very lanes focused, to CFO, who are early game focused, and then PSG, who are just all round really. There's not really like a place where they naturally sort of are the best. They're just best in general. And so to be able to have to prepare all of those sort of brackets and to be able to win the first 2 even is really impressive out of them. And unfortunately though, it wasn't to be by the end of it, and they will be going home. But I think really credit is due. They played their hearts out, and obviously PSG just had the better of them.
Yeah, I think it does suck to end the split like that, but could look back on the rest of it and should hold their heads high. I think as well, when you do kind of come through that lower bracket, you show so many of your picks, which makes it so easy for the people you see on your screen here, PSG Talon, to really take full advantage of them. And certainly deserving of being our champions.
Yeah, 2023 PCS Spring Champions, PSG Talon. They were so dominant throughout the regular split, and finally